And good morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. It is Friday. Aren't y'all glad? It is. Right now, cooler than it has been the last few days. It's 63 as you're waking up. We will get to a warmer day, high of 88. Now, as we'll get into the forecast in just a moment, it's gone here, it's gone there, and they've changed it. And everybody decided that, well, it's a 40% chance of rain now. It was 60 at one time early this morning, and I think that's what I've got on my chart. But it's changed. 40% chance of an afternoon shower should happen after 1 o'clock. So those afternoon thunder boomers could happen. We'll look at that on radar here in just a moment and get you all set for that. Everyone ready for the weekend? We got a lot going on. Let's see, we got a few state games going on out at Northeast Park. We'll also have National Train Day tomorrow in downtown Meridian, and then an event downtown Meridian called James Chaney Day, I think, is going to be taking place also. So a few of the events going on in and around the area. Boy, did we get some rain yesterday. Did everybody suffer through that? And there were so many people at dark 30, around 7:30, 8 o'clock last night, that were still without power. And again, those tree limbs, that wind when it comes through, that's what happens each and every time. And that's what got us yesterday. Y'all hang tight. We're fixing to get a good word and get our motivation for today. To be a better person. That's really what it's all about. Let's go talk to Brother Ben and let him give us a message. Now, let's go to Collinsville.
Have you ever borrowed something from somebody? Of course you have. You and I do that sort of thing from time to time, but why do you borrow it instead of buying it? Well, probably because you wouldn't be needing that thing for very long, right? I mean, you might use it for a day or two and then you'd be done with it, so it's better to borrow it if at all possible. Did you know that's why Jesus borrowed a tomb? We read in Matthew 27 that after Jesus died, a follower of his named Joseph of Arimathea was given Jesus' body for burial. Where did he bury Jesus? Well, Jesus didn't have a tomb purchased or prepared for himself, so Joseph took Jesus to his own tomb. In other words, Jesus was buried in Joseph's tomb. Now that would be problematic for Joseph because he'd have to find a new place to be buried later when he died. I mean, who wants to be buried with another person? But in actuality, it wasn't a problem at all. Whether Joseph knew it or not, Jesus was just borrowing Joseph's tomb. He'd only need it for about 3 days because on that third day, that first Easter, Jesus was resurrected, raised from the dead. He would walk out of that borrowed tomb and never return. Beloved, the resurrection of Jesus Christ is the most important fact in the history of the world. It changes everything. It proves that Jesus is the Savior of the world and all who turn from sin and trust in Him will be saved. Aren't you glad that Jesus just borrowed that tomb? Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. And a big thank you to Brother Ben there. Always a great message. Don't forget, they'll be opening up the church door Sunday morning, bright and early. Come on down. They'd love to have you as a special guest. Maybe you'd like to go to church there. And regardless of where you live, where you're watching me from, there's probably a church within, 20 minutes of where you live? That's usually how that works out. Good morning to Corey. Glad to see you joining us there from Louisville. LaWanda, good morning. Ann, how are you? Hello. Also, Jones Bradley joining us there. And Miss Nina, how are you feeling today? Judy, so many of you up and at 'em today as we begin this. A few of the headlines before we get to the forecast this morning, and I'm guilty nowadays. I don't watch, and I guess it's because the music doesn't excite me anymore. But the Academy of Country Music Awards were on last night. I think the time that I went was 1995. I flew to L.A. to watch them live. They were on last night. Dolly was the host along with Garth. Anybody say, oh, did you see that?
No, I didn't watch it.
I guess it's not often you can make, and I'm not going to tell it because it's too risque, but Dolly, being the lady she is, she went there and done a joke and even made poor old Garth blush with pure red last night. And after reading it, I think I would too. Yeah. Dolly, did you really go there? But it's Dolly. We have to give her a pass on anything she may have said. Yeah. So I'll stay away from the 3-time thing. Y'all read that story yourself. I am just absolutely not going to repeat that. No way, no how. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania this morning. How bad is it when it takes 19 hours to notice? Well, wait a minute. 1, 2, 3. There's 2 inmates missing here at the jail. 19 hours. After a week, they've caught 1. Yeah, this defunding the police is really working out great there, isn't it? It just gets worse and worse and worse. Y'all remember the 2 guys that were fishing in the tournament? And then, of course, with any tournament, you weigh your fish as they come in. And, well, they thought they needed better odds than everybody else. And they put a few weights down the old fish's mouth. They finally got their judgment. They'll each spend 10 days in jail for doing that, trying to rig the contest to win the cash. It's not a long time, but I think that's a lesson learned of don't do that again. They're probably also banned from any tournament upcoming. I'm sure they got chunked out. That was a costly mistake on their part there. Now, I say this without knowing. This is one of those what-ifs, as we're all watching what goes on in Washington right now of getting the debt ceiling under control. The question is, what if they don't reach an agreement to where things are going? They're saying if you're on Social Security, a very limited budget, you should watch yourself now for a few weeks and not do any extra spending due to the fact, what if they don't reach this? Your check would be late if you rely on Social Security solely for your income. So watch your pennies, see what they're doing in the government to make sure that this passes so that you'll get your next check. We would hate for you to go without, but there's always that chance they won't work this out in Washington. We do hope they do at the last minute there and checks go as normal, but be cautious on that. There's a lot of people that are on fixed incomes, and it means a lot to them. I haven't seen the pictures of this, so I can't say one way or the other, but do y'all remember back in the day when McDonald's was sued over the hot coffee? Well, they're being sued again, and this time it's from a mother that says her daughter was disfigured from chicken McNuggets because they were too hot. Now, I have not seen the pictures of the youngster, but it's sad either way. But that's what's out there. Another restaurant being sued. And I think I'll just show you the picture of this. This is from last night as I brought up the ACMs. As the headline reads, who gets from the ACMs the Busty Award, I think is the word for it. Dolly, you would absolutely think would get the award, wouldn't you? Oh, no, sirree. She didn't win it last night at the ACM Awards. They say that it goes to this young lady here on the left, Blake Shelton's ex-wife, Miranda, there on the left. The girl on the right in the green is the girl that you saw so many times in the Western show. Why am I going? Yellowstone. Yeah, I couldn't think of it there. But Dolly didn't even get honorable mentions on that. And I thought she always won that. At least she did on the Carol Burnett show. Do you remember that scene of Harvey, Conway, where she walks by and he sets the wine glass on her? Because, okay, that was many years ago, and it was funny back then. Let's see what else is happening today. Oh, this is a tough day for the United States as we look at the border. Title 42 runs out. There's going to be a heap of folks coming into the United States. The sheriff in Yuma says anybody that is on private land will be arrested. I hope his jail is big because it's going to be a flood of this. We know what's coming. That's a few of the headlines. There's a lot more that we're going to talk about during the morning show. All that kicks off this morning beginning at 7. We want you back here, and we're going to tell you what went on yesterday, all about it, what's happening this weekend. We're going to do your forecast next as we get into this, and always a good word from the Precast Group. If you haven't got one of these yet, pay attention to this. The Precast Group, offering you the best selection when it comes to a storm shelter. Located on 145 South in Meridian, where they offer above-ground shelters that can be installed in your home as you're built in, are conveniently located right outside your home if it's already built. They also offer storm shelters that can be installed in a slight bank or on flat ground. Protect your family today with a very affordable storm shelter from the Precast Group. Highway 145 South, 601-482-0003. The Precast Group.
Hello, my name's Kenneth Graham, and I'm running for coroner of Lauderdale County. For over 50 years, Lauderdale County's been represented by professional and competent coroners. I would like to continue that tradition. Over the next several months, I want to educate the public on what the coroner does and dispel any myths about the coroner job. I can show you that I will be the most professional coroner there is. So please vote for me August the 8th.
Paid for by the Committee for the Election of Kenneth Graham. The good morning goes out to Cornbread. How are you today? We see Jeff Lewis up and stirring. Also, Joyce Gressett. How are you doing there? Sheila Lang, so good to see you. Also, James Sullivan is up. Many, many more. Jeremiah Johnson, you're up as well. Let's look at radar before we get into this forecast to show you where there's a little bit of fog on the Gulf Coast as we pull up Meridian Honda radar. They're down here around Biloxi, just to the northwest of there above Highway 90. We got a little bit of fog in that area there as you go in toward the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Be careful there. Picayune, all that area full of fog this morning on the coast. As we go up, you'll see all of these right here. We'll talk about this morning. Storm damage yesterday, trees. We do have a little bit of rain as we get into the northern portion of Mississippi this morning. Here's West Point here. As you go toward Pontotoc and Tupelo, a few showers picking up in the north of Oxford, Holly Springs, light showers there. Eastern, northern Alabama, some showers there as well. And we got a few above Texarkana there in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Those areas today. Again, we've got a chance of afternoon showers that we'll get into your local forecast a little bit deeper in just a second to let you know who, what, why, and when. What's coming on with all of this. All right, let's get into our forecast now.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Those record highs, record lows, it was 1963 today that we had a high of 94 degrees. 63, that's been a while ago. 1989 set our lowest on record for today. It was 40 degrees when you woke up back in 1989. What a time warp. As we look for today, we're going to see about 87 in Demopolis as well as Tuscaloosa. 1 degree difference there, not much. Clanton, Alabama should see 85 and 90 over in Montgomery, Alabama is what we're looking for. As we glance on this, now the Meridian area, we should also see somewhere around 88 as well across Mississippi. As we glance at this, let me pull up here as we look at our outlook. Only right here in the Meridian area do we see this warming trend in South Mississippi. A little bit warmer in lower Alabama, down in L.A. and across portions of Georgia, and even hotter down in lower Florida there. As we see out in Texas, West Texas still cooler, a warming front out to our west in California as it makes its way toward Nevada. That will eventually get here. But as we look at these temperatures here today, now again, this has changed from earlier this morning when we started at 3:30, 4 o'clock. This has dropped to a 40% chance for today with a high of 87 to 88, depending upon where you are. Now, most of this should move in sometime after 1 o'clock this afternoon. Is what we're betting on. As we move to tomorrow, there is a 90. Look at that. Temperature hitting 90, 92 on Sunday. Now, both of these days, it's a smidgen of a chance of about 20% chance of an afternoon shower. Not much there, so you'll probably be able to do whatever you're looking to do over the weekend. Nighttime lows should fall in the upper 60s. Kind of nice weather. As we go to Monday, back to work, we're still hovering at that slight chance of rain with a high of 92. And temperatures go back into the 80s by Tuesday, dropping to the mid-80s as those temperatures, rain chances increase to a 40% chance on Wednesday. Still a 30% chance on Thursday, so we might get wet from time to time. What does that tell us? Get your grass cut this weekend, or you'll be having somebody pull out your lawnmower out of the mud hole. We know it works that way. Those temperatures all the way through the 26, 87. We get a couple of days there where it'll be a little bit cooler. The 20th, as that cool spell moves in from West Texas, we'll get into the lower 80s, 82, 83. Trust me when I say this, there will be days that we beg for that in our future. It will be. Come July, you'll go, where is that? It's nowhere to be seen. We're back to 89 by the 26th as we near the month of June. Look at that, already forecasting through the 26th. This month is getting away from us. Memorial Day coming up not long from now. As we get ready for fishing today, not bad as we look at the wind. Should be south wind 5 to 10. Just be careful not to backlash as we look at our best times to fish today. This morning, starting about right now, 6:36 till about roughly 9 o'clock this morning, and you'll have a second chance of this afternoon when you get off work right there at dark from 7 until 9. So 2 great chances for the fish to bite. I hope you can get out and enjoy yourself. Take somebody fishing. Sometimes it's not really about fishing. It's just being together, spending a little time. Take a moment. Do that. Don't let life pass you by. It does seem to fly every now and then, doesn't it? We're already sitting at 6:45, which makes us 15 minutes from the show actually starting. We'll go live in 10 minutes from now. Odie's ready. He's wearing his red for Active duty. Remember everyone deployed. Always wears that red. You have to start sending me a memo. My brain must be about yay big. I cannot, for some reason, remember that. But that is something good to support, to wear red on Friday, to remember those who are deployed to protect our great nation. I almost think we ought to call them back and have them sitting down in Texas today. Just a thought. Just a thought. We'll be live. Hope you'll join us. We'll tell you all the goings-on from Clark, Newton, Lauderdale, anywhere around. We'll tell you what went on last night. It's all up and coming as we start your day with the Scotty Ray Report. We'll be back soon.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: